Am I the asshole for breaking up my engagement because of what my fiancé said about my mom? Original post on May 16, 2023. I am not from USA, so I might have some grammatical errors. So, my dad left my mom and I when I was only 5 years old. I also have a brother. He left the country with his mistress, never tried to contact. We were really poor. My mom had to do some immoral stuff to get food on the table. She was a stripper and also sometimes pleased men to get money for us. She put me and my brother through school. I understood why my mom did what she did because we had no money and she wanted us to have a life better than ours, and I am not ashamed because of it. I also started working part-time when I was 14. I was a good student, so I got a scholarship to a good university. My mom eventually stopped stripping when my brother got a part-time job too. She now only works as a waitress. I met my fiancé, Javi, in college. This was my first serious relationship. We both loved each other. I never told Javi about my mom's past because my mom made me promise to never say that to anyone. I kept that, but it felt so wrong to keep this huge information away from my fiancé. Javi knew about us. He only knew that my family was extremely poor. He doesn't care about that. He is a very sweet guy who always takes care of me. He even covered some of the cost of my brother's education as well, even though I told him not to. My mom also likes him. That's why she told me not to tell Javi anything about her past or what she did for a living. So, a week ago, my mom and I went to Javi's house to meet his parents. I didn't realize his uncle and aunt would also be there. Upon seeing his uncle, my mom's face went white as if she saw a ghost. His uncle also kept staring my mom as if he knows her. My mom felt uncomfortable and said that she wants to go home. Javi was confused by it, but nonetheless we left earlier than we anticipated. The next day my fiancé came to our place and shouted at me that I lied to him. He said that I am a gold digger just like my mother. And my mother is the reason why his uncle's first marriage broke. I asked him to explain what the hell is he talking about. He said that his uncle knew my mom because he was a regular customer of her and often hired her for her services. His wife caught them red-handed and immediately filed for divorce. My mom was crying and said that she didn't know he was married. She never asks men about their marital status. I told him that he has no right to speak to my mom like that, and his uncle was fully to blame because he was a married man who was hiring escorts for himself. My mom has no obligation towards his marriage. Javi still blamed me and mom and said that he felt deceived. He said to my face that he doesn't want to date a whore's daughter because I will probably invite men just like my mom. My mom had to beg him to not break the engagement. I am tired. If I do end up marrying him, my mom would always have to suffer because of it. I don't want that, so I gave him back his engagement ring and told him to never show his face. My mom is angry because she thinks this is my only chance to get married because no other guy would marry into a family where the mom works as a sex worker. But I think I did the right thing because I am not ashamed of my mom. I didn't even wanted to hide it in the first place. I wanted to tell him the truth, but my mom refused it. So, am I the asshole? Edit. I need to clear things out a bit. Javi knows everything about my life. He knows my dad fled the country and we had to live in poverty because of it. He knows my mom got pregnant way too young. I did give him hints that my mom had to do shady things to get by. He probably thought my mom stole things, but I didn't disclose that she was a sex worker. I wanted to tell him, but my mom said not to because she doesn't want this to escalate. Also, I never asked Javi to pay for my brother's education. He did it from the goodwill of his heart. I did promise to pay him back. I am not after his money. I do love him a lot. Even though we are broken up now, I still miss him. We have been together for 6 years. It is not easy to throw away those 6 years just like that. Update on May 26, 2023. Hi everyone, I wanted to say thank you so much for your support. I never thought I would get so much support from strangers than people from my own community. I was, however, expecting a lot of hate towards my mom considering her profession, but it is less than what I expected. I don't know if this qualifies as a proper update, but there have been few changes. After I broke the engagement, I have been getting calls from my friends and Javi's family that I am making a huge mistake. My close friends know that my mom used to be a sex worker, but mutual friends of mine and Javi does not know about it. So, they're also questioning me if I ever did that. Javi did apologize. He said he got carried away by his emotions and he loves me. Not gonna lie, I love him too. I wanted to get past all of this. I know people have told me that I should not get married to this guy. But I was weak for a moment, until he told me that he is willing to let things go and start anew if my mom does not attend any wedding functions. I was shocked. Weddings are a big deal in our culture. There are many functions and parties surrounding the wedding. How can he ask that I do not involve my mom? He told me that because of my mom's past it would be difficult for his family members to be around her. He convinced his mom with difficulty about this engagement. Also, since his uncle is going to be there, it will only remind him of bad things. At that moment I realized that I was never a consideration. It was always him and making his family happy. My family is beneath them because we are not from a respectable background and come from homes of sex workers. I stood firm and told him no. It is not going to happen. I will not give in to their demands because the way I see it, my mom did not do anything wrong. It is funny how quickly people will judge a woman based on her work that she had to do to feed her kids, but no one will come forward to help her in time of her need. Javi threatened that I am making a huge mistake by letting him go. I just left. I do not have the energy to deal with it. I think this news is spreading like wildfire now. I may have to move out of the city because if this news reaches to my workplace, I know damn well people will ostracize me. So, I might look for a job in a different area. Lastly, I messaged him saying I am sorry for not telling him earlier about my mom, but I loved him a lot. I am sad that he chose this topic to ruin a 6-year-old relationship. I will be going to the bank and pay back the money he paid for my brother's education. I am still crying and jilted to say the least. Also, I saw that my post was shared in different religious groups bashing my mom, saying that I deserved it. Well, let me tell you religious fanatics that most men who claim to be religious are not at all. My mom had many clients who claim to be religious, including pastors and preachers. So please, before blaming my mom, look inside your house and your family. You might find chameleons hiding within your family too. Edit, people who are asking why I am paying him back. It is because I don't want him to use it as an excuse to call me a gold digger who used him for his money. I don't want to be in his debt.
Am I the asshole for refusing to go to my best friend's wedding? Post on May 17, 2023. I am 27, non-binary, have a best friend, 33, who's getting married. He asked me to be a groomsperson. I told him I didn't feel comfortable taking a spot from his brothers. He has 6 brothers, all adopted, all of which he's pretty close to, and I felt like he should ask them first. And he agreed, so he proposed to his fiancé that I be a bridesmaid. She asked if I would be interested and I asked if I had to wear a dress or not. She got kinda snippy with me saying I'm doing this because he wants you in the wedding and just be a normal girl for a single night. So I told her I was uninterested in being a bridesmaid. I was actually pretty hurt and considered not even going to the wedding. Best friend texts me asking why I said no to being a bridesmaid, and I told him exactly why. He said she's been stressed with planning and to just give her a chance. So I decide to suck it up and work with her to find an outfit that I can at least wear. We find a few nice dresses, and I'm going to just grin and bear it until fiancé asks if we can shorten the dress. I tell her I'm not comfortable going any shorter. It was already above my knees, and she made a comment about me needing to show off my girlish ways more, to which I respond, I'm not a girl. I don't want to look hyper feminine. We get into an argument to which she eventually just says this is the issue with lesbians. I'm not a lesbian. So I leave and text my best friends, sorry, but I'm not going to be attending your wedding. Your fiancé is making really uncomfortable at this point, and I think it best I just not be there. He thinks I'm being an asshole and that I should just put up with her for a single night, but this isn't a one-night thing. I'm likely losing a friend if he marries her because I don't ever want to be around her. Update on May 20th, 2023. So I took your guys' advice and texted my best friend earlier the other day saying I know I've been weird lately, can we just talk, just us? He agreed and we went out for lunch. I told him why I couldn't attend his wedding and that, as much as I love him, I can't be around his fiancée and that he had a decision to make. He told me he wasn't aware she was being so toxic and that he'd talk to her because it didn't sound like her. I told him to do what he needed to. About 3 hours later, I get a text from fiancée telling me I'm a homewrecker and that I need to stay out of their relationship. I block her numbers so if she continued after. Eventually, best friend asks if we can all get dinner. I agree and we get dinner at a local chain. He tries to sort out what happened. She doesn't deny it at all. Eventually he asks his fiancée why she never brought up her views on LGBTQ people knowing I was in the picture, and she says something like other women shouldn't be in your life. To which he corrects her that I'm not a woman and she says she is though. I try to excuse myself and she makes a comment about me having an emotional affair with her fiancé, to which I respond, no, I just don't want to be around you anymore. Best friend offers to drive me home and I tell him to sort things out with his fiancée, and I'll have my boyfriend pick me up and that he clearly needs to have a conversation with the woman he's about to marry. He walks me to the curb and waits with me until my boyfriend gets there. It was pretty late and not a great area of town, and asks what I do. I tell him, if our positions were reversed, I would have left her without needing to drag this out like this. To which he tells me I'm being a bit unfair and I apologize and tell him to let me know if I still have a best friend. Boyfriend asks if he wants me to have him go over to their place the next day and pick up my belongings, and I tell him no. Got a text this morning from best friend telling me he needs time to consider things, but that he appreciates me coming to him. I apologize again. We haven't talked since. I'm honestly just emotionally numb at this point. Update on May 23, 2023. So final update. Doing it here to avoid creating more of a wall of text on my original post. Best friend texted me earlier today asking me if I'd let him stay with me and my boyfriend. I ran it past my boyfriend. He agreed, so we moved him into the guest room. He called out of work, used up his sick leave, and is not with fiancé anymore. He's pretty broken up about the whole thing, and honestly, I briefly question whether or not I should have just let him live in ignorance, but I'm glad I told him. If he ever has kids or his siblings come out or anything, I'd hate for them to need to be around fiancé. He's agreed to watch my kids, 2 girls and 1 boy, and help out around the house, so we're not gonna make him pay rent, especially after breaking up with his fiancée. Babysitting twin toddlers is rent enough. So overall a happy ending, but I'm not sure really where we stand. I think it'll take some time, but I'm not gonna drop my best friend of over a decade if he's not gonna marry a transphobe. So hopefully no major issues with our relationship going forward. Edit. OP just added this comment to their most recent post to answer some questions. He was held back a year and started late because of his birthday. My kids were had through a surrogate and egg donor. You do resume puberty, but generally it's not as pronounced. So you end up looking like a teenager for a lot longer. Edit to I totally fucked up writer's pronouns in the last edit. They're fixed now. I feel horrible. So sorry, original poster. I should have double checked what I wrote even though it was late. 1000% on me.